Welcome to Film Riot. Today we're doing a few things, but before we get to those few things, last week I mentioned that we were going to release all the details for the 1-minute short film competition that we're doing with Filmstro, and we are going to do that this week, but not today. We need a little bit more time to make sure that the website is ready to go for you guys, and we're not going to have any issues. So it should be just maybe another day. We should be able to put out an announcement on Wednesday that'll give you all the details and all the rules, but we have some really cool guest judges. We have some really great prizes, so I'm very excited to get you all those details this week. But today we're talking about some lights and some audio plugins, starting with the lights, and that is the new lights from Westcott. They just released the CineFlex lights, which are RGB lights, which we actually used for this scene right here. The light that we taped up to the ceiling was one of the RGB lights, which we couldn't say at the time, so we kind of glossed right by it because they weren't out yet, so we weren't allowed to talk about it. But these lights are incredible. It's everything that's amazing about the Flex lights, the fact that you can bend them, the fact that they can get wet, they're crazy durable. You can put them pretty much anywhere, like taping them to a ceiling to fit into your scene because you don't have any space to rig any other kind of light, mixed with the fact that they're RGB lights, and the controller is pretty amazing. Not only are they RGB lights to where you can select any color you want manually by dialing it in, but they also have a ton of actual simulated gels built into the controller, so you can just cycle through to find the equivalent gel that you would put on this light anyway. And you know, this does a lot more. It's Wi-Fi capable, so you can connect it to your app, and it has the DMX features and all that. But we're going to get into a deep dive review of them soon because they're great. But I just wanted to point out that those were the lights that we were using on that episode before and have used a few other times. But again, we'll get into that soon. But today I want to talk about some audio plugins from Acusonos. I just got these. I haven't really used them at all, so I figured I would go through them and try them for the first time while doing this, because the whole idea behind these plugins is that they're like one knob plugins that will fix your audio for the people that are the everything filmmakers. A lot of us are everything filmmakers. I definitely came from the everything filmmaker background, meaning you have to do everything. From pre to post-production, you are the entire studio getting that thing done, but a lot of us aren't really proficient with audio. I do love audio. I do love diving deep into the audio and massaging the best possible quality out of it. That's something I actually enjoy, but a lot of people don't do that side of things, and audio can be very, very difficult. I keep saying audio. For some reason, that sounds weird to me. I should be saying sound, I guess. I don't know. Either way, you get what I'm saying. So over here, you can see their website and their plugins, which are very pretty. And I don't know why we're looking at it in here when we could just go right into the software and look at the actual app. So let's go ahead and do that. So in here, I've thrown in 3 clips, 2 which the audio was incredibly problematic, borderline unfixable, and then a third piece, which is just from our podcast, just to see what the plugins will do on these types of audio files. So again, if we look here, we have the 3 audio tracks, all of which are very problematic. If we listen to this first one,
I want you to think on this card.
That is so horrible. It took me a long time to make the sound in this sketch usable. I do remember this being an absolute nightmare. But let's jump in, and we see the plugins that they have here, which I already have installed, are ERAD, ERA-Deesser, Noise Remover, Plosive Remover, Reverb Remover, and Voice Leveler. We're not going to look at all of them today. We will get to all of them at some point or another, but we're just going to focus in on a couple of them. First of all is the Noise Remover, because that is the one that interests me the most, because unlike me, some of the other editors in my team don't really do sound very much. So if this works, I will be very happy because it's a one knob solution for them and they could solve some audio issues. So let's just see what it does, because it has a preset already set up. You put it in and it jumps right to what it thinks you should do with your sound, I'm assuming. So let's take a listen to what it's done.
I want you to think on this card. I'm reading your mind. Queen of Diamonds.
Jack of Hearts.
Damn it.
That's actually pretty good off the bat. Let's do it before and after. This is with the plugin on.
I want you to think on this card.
And off. Oh, wow.
I'm reading your mind.
All right, so that's actually really impressive. That's pretty crazy. You would expect, a lot of times with denoisers, you expect to get some of that weird warbly tinny thing happening when you reduce the noise that much, when it's that bad and at that high of a level with the voice. But this has been able to separate the voice and the noise extremely well. Let's see what happens when we jack the processing up. There it
I
is.
want you to think on this card.
So we're at this
I'm reading
point,
your
we're
mind.
getting that warbly
Queen of
sound in the
diamonds.
background. However,
Damn it.
it's still doing just with one knob a great job at finding
No.
what is the actual noise in the sound and what is the actual voice. And if we turn it all the way up, what do we get?
I'm an illusionist. Queen of spades.
We got a
Damn
really
it.
muddy voice happening, but
All right, for this trick to work, you're going to have to concentrate. That's why it's not working.
that's actually pretty insane for a one button sort of solution where we're not doing anything additional. We're not telling it what the noise print actually is. We're not refining anything. We're just popping this on and going. This is insanely impressive.
All right, for this trick to work, you're going to have to concentrate. That's why it's not working. Okay? For this trick to work, Josh, damn. Okay.
Right around 48% compared to what it was. I mean, that's completely acceptable. And then we could push it even further with some EQ and maybe even denoise it again on top of that. I don't know. That's stuff I would want to test. And down here, we have a mid-frequency focus, high frequency, low frequency. But I think the all-frequency focus actually does a really good job on this one. But okay, so off the bat, I'm pretty impressed. So let's jump to the next one. This comes from our tank episode where we went out to drivetanks.com and we just blew up a bunch of like 8-foot, 7-foot teddy bears. If you haven't seen that episode, link. Oh, I just hit my link. Yeah, I think it's that way. But let's take a look at this clip.
The last fully operational one left in existence. There's only about 12 in recognizable condition. Same with our Sherman.
Again, we're getting the same issue. It was raining at this point and it was a tin roof. So all the rain is just slamming into that tin roof and giving us that hiss that you're hearing in the background. And we were on a short turnaround for this episode. So I actually just lived with it. I left all of that in. But I have a feeling this might do a pretty good job of getting rid of that. And if we had this at the time, I just would have used this. Let's find out.
Condition. Same with our Sherman. Last fully operational one left in existence. And we're currently the only ones in the world actually shooting live big guns like this on the scale that we do. So
that's actually pretty great. Okay, so I'm pretty impressed by this. So I'm going to stop and give the disclaimer of I'm not making any money off of this whatsoever. They did send this to me to try out for free, so I did not pay for these, but I had no expectations of what it would be like, and I'm not getting paid for saying any of this, and I'm saying that now because this is kind of awesome.
anything, we like to share both sides of history, the good stuff and the bad stuff.
It's one button. That's what I'm kind of flipping out about the most. I mean, there's a lot of really great denoisers out there. I have some from Isotope that are incredible that I use all the time, but you're getting in there and you're doing some work. It's one button. This is absolute. I'm going to give this to all of my team. And this is great.
Stuff because you learn from history as much as good from the
And with
bad.
a lot of clips like this where the sound is that bad to where you're really doing a lot of work on it like this, pushing that processing up that much or whatever it is you're doing with it, a lot of times I'll remove a lot of the noise and it'll sound wrong. Like for instance,
12 in recognizable condition. Same with our Sherman. Last fully operational one left in existence. And we're currently the only ones in the world actually shooting.
So it sounds wrong right now, but then you EQ it to get the voice sounding a little more normal. And then you bring in an ambience track and you pop that at the bottom and it cleans everything up. It's kind of the same as video. You denoise the image, you get rid of all that. And most of the time, especially if it's a very noisy image, you start getting it's a little too smooth. So in the end, you add grain or noise back to it. So it cleans everything up and ties everything together, but it's a pleasant noise. It's not this gross noise that you were trying to get rid of, and one that you can control. So let's jump over to this right here.
But I'm trying.
And this is a clip from our podcast, and as you can see, we got some peaks happening here and then low points. So let's throw on the noise leveler, because this is a problem that I have with the podcast all the time, is the voice going up and down. You know, you have people that's generally how they talk. So I'm having to do a lot of work
I'm trying the
to
technique
twerk
out,
that.
and it kind of ended up being our own little style because of it, because there's like this weird mixture of things. But it's always been about wanting to try different techniques, and even though sometimes it just seems
So that's doing a great job. So now that so what you would have to do with some of those other clips, if there was a lot of noise in this clip, which it isn't because it's working on a podcast, I would denoise it first and process that and then throw on the noise leveler so it's not pulling up any noise floor that did exist. And, it's another one that's doing a really, really great job. Clearly, there is a lot going on under the hood that you have this one button on top. That's what we're seeing. But under the hood, there is a lot of really impressive stuff happening to make this level of quality work the way that it does. And I am very impressed. So definitely check out the notes below. I'm going to put some links in there for you guys to check out. And we'll take a look at some of the other plugins they have on a later episode as well. There's nothing more discouraging than having a pile of overdue paperwork just sitting there staring at you while you try to work or do anything you enjoy at all. Well, our friends at FreshBooks have a cloud accounting software that'll give you more time to do the work that you love and not feel discouraged by the paperwork demon. FreshBooks has been redesigned from the ground up and custom built for the way that you like to work. It's the easiest way to be more productive, organized, and most importantly, get paid quickly. The all-new FreshBooks is not only ridiculously easy to use, it's also packed full of powerful features. You can create and send professional-looking invoices in less than 30 seconds, set up online payments with just a couple of clicks, and get paid up to 4 days faster. Of course, you can see when your client has seen your invoice and put an end to the guessing games. And right now, FreshBooks is offering a free 30-day unrestricted trial to film writers. Just go to freshbooks.com/filmwrite and enter Film Riot in the How Did You Hear About Us section.
Logo.
So that's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. And this comes from director Josh Tanner. He did a short film called The Rizzle, which is a horror short film for Hulu for something they're doing for Halloween called Huluween. And I just really dig the concept behind it, some genuinely creepy moments. And I like the original odd take on what a monster could be in the end. So definitely check that out. Link in the notes below. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.